morning, I'm Clint Walker and this is Real Estate Appraiser Secrets, and today we're going to answer the question, why would an appraiser's measurements be smaller or larger than a builder's building plans? So this question comes from comments I've seen from agents trying to find reliable sources of square footage. And if you've ever watched one of my videos before or heard me talk about anything, you'll know that I'm of the opinion, and I'm right, that there is only one reliable source of square footage, and that is the hand measurements of an appraiser, except no substitute. That includes cubic casa floor plans, that includes builder plans, that is public records, that is agent measurements, that is what the owners told you they think it is, or what am I forgetting? I have one other one in mind, but it doesn't matter. If you do not have a measurement from an appraiser, you do not have the most reliable source of square footage. You may be close, but there's just really no way to know. So, but why would an appraiser's measurements differ from the plans of the person or company who actually built the house? It's a valid question. I have built a few houses, and I have measured, I would say I've measured over 1,000 houses at this point, and for whatever reason, these things do differ. I suspect that one of the reasons is, and I've got a few ideas here, but I suspect that one of the reasons here relates pretty well to a famous quote by Mike Tyson, when he said, "Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face," which is just to say that plans are great until reality strikes. So I know that what happens with building houses sometimes is the builder goes out there with their plans and they run into real life obstacles in building the place that require changing the plans on the fly. They don't need to get new permits for this. They don't need to redo anything for this. They just make the change, and that's fine. But that's one reason that when the appraiser goes out and measures the as-built house, they're going to get something different than what you might have gotten from the builder by way of plans. Personally, I was building some pretty simple townhouses once, and my builder told me when they were framing up the second floor that the plans that we gotten from the architect had made a closet that was above the stairwell too large, and if we built it like that, then there wouldn't be enough head clearance going up the steps, so we had to change it on the fly. If you're measuring that house and you're not including the stairwell, as we used to do but no longer do, you would have a measurement that would be a little bit smaller than what those architectural plans say is the square footage of the second floor, because we had to reduce the size of that closet. Builders sometimes when the foundation's getting done, that the people laying the foundation block might vary the foundation by an inch horizontally or an inch vertically, and an inch on that sort of X and Y axis. I hope I did my hands the right directions there. On those two axes, an inch can add a lot of square footage to a house, depending on what the overall horizontal and vertical run is. So small things can make that as-built structure vary by a lot from what the original plans were. The other thing that if you look at building plans, another thing you'll see, and this is sort of maybe not so much why an appraiser's measurements would differ, but this is something I want you to understand if you've never read these plans before. A lot of times the architectural plans will talk about space. They will list out the total heated and cooled space, which is reliable, but heated and cool space is not necessarily the square footage delineations that an appraiser uses. Heated and cooled space could be if you have your garage conditioned. That would include the garage. Your appraiser's not going to include the garage in the square footage if it's a functioning garage. And heated and cooled space would include basement space. And you will know from my previous videos or my class that we do not include basement space in gross living area. Gross living area is only space that is above grade. And any portion of any space that is below grade gets put on a separate line in the appraisal report as basement space. When we're doing a professional measurement for you, we delineate those out the same way and inform you of what that is going to be reported as in an appraisal, because that is what serves you best. You can choose to market that however you want, and the MLS is going to calculate your price per square foot however it does it. But we want you to understand that from a professional measurement standpoint and from the ANSI guidelines, which is what your appraiser is going to use, that you've got these certain types of space in this house and they're going to be accounted for in different ways, not just lumped in to one calculation of all finished space in the house. But builder plans kind of do that. Another thing that builder plans do, and this is the one that really has caused some confusion with people that I've talked to in the past, is they've got this calculation on many building plans that say finished space under roof. And finished space under roof can include patios and porches. So that can be very deceptive if you're not really looking closely at what types of spaces are being included in that. Obviously, your professional measurement for an appraisal or for your pre-list, just for professional measurement purposes, we may measure out the patios and porches for you, but we're not going to include them in the living area. So those are some of the reasons. Maybe a couple of other reasons that your builder plans are not the same. And even some, like if you go to some of the retail stores like Home Depot or Lowe's and they do professional measurement services too, but they often measure these things, and one of the floor plan scanning apps, or all of them do this as well, if you don't pay for the upgraded version, they measure only interior walls. And I believe I've heard from an architect before that a lot of those architectural plans also are just interior walls. So it would be essentially carpeted or hardwood floor areas are what's included in those plans. When your appraiser goes to measure it, we measure it from the exterior walls. So when we measure it, you're getting extra dimension. And this may sound like it's inflated square footage, but it is the proper way to do it. When an appraiser measures it, you get the bricks, you get the drywall, and you get the studs all included in that measurement. And so if you're using some other standard where they're only measuring interior space, all you're getting is floor area. And so you're not actually getting what is the national standard for describing finished square footage. So for all those reasons, builder plans or any other source besides an appraiser's measurement could be smaller. And so I encourage you to use an appraiser for that reason. The other benefits to using an appraiser are, if you've got a questionable sunroom, and we run into this a lot. Your seller has finished out that sunroom or that sun patio, they want it included in the square footage. Well, you're having an appraiser come and do a professional measurement is going to be your most authoritative source of understanding whether you should or should not, or understanding whether the next appraiser will or will not include that space in your square footage. If you include it in the square footage and your lender appraiser does not, I think more often than not, will be looking at an issue unless you've just underpriced the house altogether. So you get lots of these other benefits, like you get our eyes on the property I look for deferred maintenance problems, like if the house has got rotted wood or rotted deck boards, things that I know your lender appraiser is going to flag and make you all repair on when they come. I want to tip you off to beforehand so you can get that stuff fixed and save yourself a hassle then. I consider all of these things extra value adds in having an actual appraiser out to do this measurement, and they're basically free value adds, because I know for a fact, while certainly paying for any service is going to be more expensive than free, I know there are professional management companies in town who charge more for non-appraiser professional measurers to go out and measure the house than you would pay for us to come out. So I think your appraiser is not only a great value in this regard, but they are also the best source. So if we can ever do this for you, and this service gets included if you do a pre-listing appraisal, we're going to measure the house for you too, so you kind of get the extra value just baked into the price of the appraisal. But if we can ever do this for you, or do a professional, or do an appraisal, or do a pre-listing consultation, or answer some questions, find us on appraiserpool.com. We'd love for you to join the Facebook group, and where we can just talk about whatever real estate questions you have in a group setting where everybody can learn at their own leisure. Those Facebook groups are where I right now get a lot of these questions that I address in my videos. So it's a really convenient place to bring this stuff up. But we'd love for you to join the Facebook group. Love for you to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, I really, really appreciate you watching, and I will catch you next week.